Very good evening. Very happy to see some of my close friends here. And with all the CISOs here. I didn't want to start with this, but I happened to read something just one day before, and I thought it's in very context with what we are going to discuss today. 2 days old news, right? So I'm sure none of us want to get into this kind of a situation which is quite ineffable that, no, why did it happen, right? So AI can end an organization's life. So every day we are actually going through this discussion around what more AI can do, right? We see the evolution of chatbots to AI assistants to AI agent. From there, now we are talking about multi-agent orchestration, MCPs, and how deeply you can use AI for the organization. Like, we don't come across a single organization which is not talking about using AI to leverage the business, right? I don't think any organization can keep themselves out of this AI race, what we call it as, right? And the biggest challenge is the evolution is much faster than what we are all prepared for, right? Which is very different from the conventional evolution of other technologies, right? We were talking about agentic AI maybe 6 to 9 months before. We are talking about multi-agent orchestration and how deeply you can integrate into your day-to-day life in an organization, right? So my context here is not about how effective AI is, but when we all talk about the AI, what is the risk associated, or what is the risk that you're carrying in an organization, right? Some of the facts and figures, which is taken from IBM's research data in the last 6 months to 1 year, what we have done. So some of these points are quite staggering, that it says that only 1/4 of the AI models have been tested for security. And we are trying to get this deployed for the organization. Second, the primary challenges that when we talk about getting the AI deployed for the organization, whether you are part of a regulated industry or a manufacturing which is less regulated, is that first of all, we don't know what is the kind of visibility that we have on what models we are deploying, right? There are tons of organizations coming with AI-infused technologies, standalone AI deployments, AI getting added on top of most of the existing technologies. So AI is coming to the organization in different forms and factors, right? How much visibility that we have? Second, the most important thing is that what is the data that we are exposing to it? You need data. You need humongous amount of data to train the models, right? You bring a model to the organization, you are using the organization's data to train it. Now, are we exposing this data? And mind it, almost every AI model that we have are running on open models, right? You go to Hugging Face, you download, you fine-tune it, right? Now, are we opening up our back door? We don't know. And the third, especially from a CISO point of view, when we talk to most of our enterprise customers, is that what kind of control that we have on the AI models and its behaviors, right? Where is starting, and what kind of training it goes to, and where is it ending up? No, in the course of evolution of that particular model, right? Do we get the complete end-to-end visibility of the model? Answer is no. Now, the biggest challenge when we talk about AI governance is that, like every other security challenges, it comes from different angles. So first of all, the number of regulatory requirements are evolving very fast, right? We already have European Union EU AI Act. NIST has come with its own framework around AI. The central bank is working on AI framework. So like the security frameworks and security regulations, AI itself also will be coming under a lot of regulation. Now, what is that it takes to be compliant to these regulations? So when, as a CISO, when you approve an AI for deployment, how do we ensure that we are compliant to this regulation? That's the first challenge or first responsibility of a CISO, to make sure that you are compliant, right? Second, the number of stakeholders involved in an AI deployment is very different in most of the cases from a traditional technology deployment, right? The stakeholders are from the board of directors till the users on the L1, L2 level users in the system, right? And one thing which has been coming out very, very often is that how vulnerable the data is, right? We are using a lot of data for training the models. At the same time, we are downloading or using a lot of open models. So how open, how vulnerable the model is, right? So these are some of the common challenges that we see across. So here is when IBM has come out with an integrated option or a platform called AI Governance and Security. This is an enterprise-level platform, which is more of an evolution of some of the technology solutions IBM already had in the security, right? Essentially, it's a platform that provides help you managing the regulatory requirements, provides visibility into the vulnerabilities, right? And having a continuous monitoring around this. So let's look at it from two aspects, right? One is the governance, I would say AI governance, and second is from AI security. While it's coming in a single platform, these two serve two different purposes, right? So especially when we look at AI governance, we are looking at the life cycle of an AI model, right? From the day it's introduced into the organization, it's the training that it undergoes, deployment, and the retirement of a particular model, right? The complete AI life cycle governance or life cycle monitoring. Second, which has become a very common discussion point most of the times, and very interesting discussions around what is the behavior of an AI model, right? How do we do a real-time evaluation or a monitoring of an AI model? So primarily we are looking at the fairness of those models, right? And the model drift that happens during the evaluation of the model, right? And the quite often spoken about hate, profanity, and abuse of the models, right? See, generally these things we are not too much bothered when you are using any of the open platforms like ChatGPT or Gemini, right? Because you are using it for a personal use. It's only the personal data that you are compromising on. But when an AI model, as a CISO, when we approve it for the organization, right, we are indirectly responsible to make sure that at an enterprise level, is the model is within the framework, within the limitations. And of course, monitoring the on being compliant to various regulatory requirements. On the other side, something which is very similar to the general security framework, security requirement that we have, which is even applicable when it comes to AI, right? First thing is getting visibility on what is getting deployed, okay? So in an organization, there are what we generally call it as a shadow IT. Now we have a lot of discussion on shadow AI, right? A lot of organizations restrict that you can only install or you can only use 1, 2, 3, 4 approved AI platforms. But how do we know if a set of employees are using some of the very convenient, very user-friendly, very effective AI chatbots and uploading some of the enterprise documents? There is no way you can restrict, right? These things now available on premise as well. You can download into your laptop and run it, right? Getting a visibility across the organization of what models are getting deployed or who is using what models is the primary thing. So getting the visibility. Second, as usual, protecting the data, right? So we generally use vector databases for deploying AI, right? And as I mentioned earlier, it uses tons of or billions of documents to train these models. Now, what is the sensitivity of those documents that has been used, right? And is it exposing any data, right? So securing the data, whether it's structured data or unstructured data, is also equally important. Third, this becomes the weakest link. You can have a visibility, you can protect your data, but most of the models are not developed in-house. Right? 99% of the models are open models. And you go to Hugging Face and download it, fine-tune it. Now, how do we ensure that the model that you download from Hugging Face or any open platform doesn't have a backdoor already created in that? And we are using our enterprise data to train it and deploy it, right? So the vulnerability and the risk associated with the model. So these are the three major aspects that we cover when it comes to the security. Now, governance and security is being taken care in a single platform. And it comes as an integrated layer. So which gives end-to-end visibility into all this functionality that you see here, right? This is one of the dashboard which gives a little fine text. It's more of an eye test on what you can see. Basically, it looks at, there are nearly 1,600 AI models that has been deployed. And out of that, there is almost 1/4 of that is shadow AI, which means it's not approved by you. It's not approved by the organization. And then it can actually look at what is the unprotected AI resources and how many MLs are being run, not just need not be an AI algorithm itself. On the right side, you will actually see the complaints, right? May not all of them will be applicable for you as an organization, but ISO 40001, you have NIST framework, you have EU AI Act, right? You can actually decide, okay, which are the framework that you need to be compliant with, and see what are the steps to ensure that you are within the compliance requirements, compliance guidelines. It also gives a fair amount of visibility in terms of the risk associated with each of the models. So in terms, you can actually go log into your hyperscalers and find out, okay, up to the top 3 or 4 or 5 hyperscalers that you have, it will actually have a complete visibility of what are the models running from my organization on these hyperscalers and what is the risk associated with that. What kind of data is getting uploaded? What is the model training that has been going on? What is the drift of a model from where it's deployed and in the current situation? So that's in short. I had promised to keep it short. Okay, thank you so much once again. What we are offering from IBM is that you can actually reach out to us. We can do a short assessment of the AI situation in the organization. It's a free workshop done by IBM Engineering Labs team. We have a set of 200 plus AI engineers in IBM who actually come. They do an assessment of what is the current level of risk associated with the AI models that has been deployed, right? And it gives a live dashboard for you to start with, right? Yeah, that's it. And thank you so much once again. And please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.